Andor finally concludes the prison arc as Andor leads his men in rebellion to break out. It's incredible what they managed to cram into a 36-minute episode without it feeling rushed or convenient. Andy Serkis delivers a fantastic performance here, matched only by Skarsgård's epic monologue at the end. Watching Kino come to terms with the fact that everything he's been fed is a lie, he looks almost relieved when he speaks the truth to the other prisoners.
No one is getting out!
For a few weeks now, I've been pondering how they plan to escape the prison. I thought that some of it might be a ruse, that the floor wasn't fully electric, that the reason they zapped them upon entry was to roll through fear. Turns out I was wrong. The reason Cassian had been messing with some pipes was to cause a flood and short circuit the floor when it was activated. I'm still wondering what the components they've been building are for. I saw a rumour it was for the Imperial probe droids, but that doesn't ring true for me. I'm assuming it's like nuts and bolts for the Death Star, although I'd like it to be for the Superstar Destroyer in Empire Strikes Back. It would just be cool to see development of other weapons outside of the Death Star, as that's the obvious choice. I imagine the season will end watching these components being loaded onto a Star Destroyer, or we dolly out of a close-up of them as they assemble a larger piece. We'll see. Back to the breakout sequence, these scenes were ridiculously tense. We have a bunch of characters I don't know the names of because I just think they're all dead men walking apart from this guy, because he pops up in Rogue One. But everyone else? Yup, dead men walking. And a bunch of them do get wasted. The escape wasn't easy, they really had to work for it. You can tell when a story is truly gripping you because your mind is focused on the now and not the next scene. I think we all figured out this would end with Cassian free, but the way they've constructed these sequences, you're just tensed up throughout. Is the water going to leak out too fast? Will the guards spot it? The lack of music here is brilliant because you don't have something guiding you on how to feel. It's just the sounds of that alarm ringing in the background, the water pooling up and the close-ups of characters. It's just agonizing waiting for it to kick off. It makes you feel like you're one of the prisoners. I really loved the brutality of this escape. Cassian has the chance to let this guard live, but he doesn't think twice before blasting him. He's taken no prisoners, and it feels real. None of this good guy shit where they let someone live. These guys have been under the thumb and punished and lied to by these guards who are active participants in oppressing their freedoms, even if they've served the sentence. So, f*** them. When Cassie and Kino arrive at the command center, it's all business and you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Turn it off!
That could mean so many things.
Although it's the subordinate who pays the cost, the other one soon learned the rules of the game. I actually thought the hydro generators were going to be a clever means of stopping prisoners from escaping. I thought the water falling through the walls would cause a suction, stopping prisoners from being able to escape by swimming. I didn't think that it was a form of power generation. Maybe it acted as both, which is pretty efficient for the Empire. Cassian getting Kino to give the speech was another character moment. It shows that Cassian isn't the leader to inspire. Sure, soldiers will follow him, but he's not a speech giver. This is echoed in Rogue One, where it's Jin who has to give the big speeches to inspire the men. I liked this touch as it emphasises Cassian's strengths and weaknesses as a character and a leader. The biggest surprise was that they let Chief Bozo live. I'd have at least shot him in the leg. It all culminates with a rousing rendition of saying "one way out" as the prisoners escape the facility. Well, those who could swim. I thought Kino could have tried, but he might feel like he has to pay a penance for driving the workforce and in essence being an extension of their oppression. Maybe he feels he needs to serve more time as punishment, or maybe he just didn't have someone to chuck him in the bloody water and figure it out. Or maybe, due to him being part of the prison escape, they conducted lab experiments on him and that's how he becomes Snoke? Yeah, I don't think so. We get given a throwaway scene back on Ferrix as you have Cassian's adoptive mother in need of a doctor, though she's being watched by both an Imperial spy and Cinta. Really, we could have cut the scene out and saved it for the next episode. On Coruscant, Mothma becomes rather gun-shy about potentially marrying her daughter to Davo's son. She's pretty vocal in refusing the offer, but Davo calls her out on it, and we're left with an anxious riddled Mothma trying to figure out if she's truly going to use her daughter as a pawn to enable her to move funds to help fund the rebellion. We as the audience know the answer, and well, Tay wouldn't have presented an option such as Davo if he had no other choice. Davo also knows the answer and so does Mothma, but I think she's just now coming to terms with what this is going to cost, and it won't be money. This theme is again repeated throughout the episode with Luthen and Lonnie later on. What I've also been enjoying is the exploration of Mothma's Chandrilan culture. She had previously had an arranged marriage with her husband in what seems to be a loveless union, alongside the fact that privileged or upper-class citizens of this culture are bound more to tradition and following it. It has a rather elitist and keeping the bloodline pure feel to it all. Something I am surprised to learn about what I imagine is a rather liberal Mothma, future leader of a rebellion and freedom fighter. The composition of each of the shots in the scene also tell a story, as the opening shot has Davo and Tay standing on a level above Mothma. We already have an idea of where the power dynamics are going to be, and he makes her tell him she wants the money, even though Tay had previously filled him in on it. The imagery in general tends to add this suffocating feel for Mothma, with the looming chandelier overhead almost crushing her. Mothma's not quite centered either, and I think it's a reflection of how she's feeling. She's unbalanced. Another thing to consider was all the back and forth she has with Davo. She's made to look small, as he either has shots to himself, or when he's in frame with her, he's really overbearing, he's a bigger presence. Finally, the show closes with Lonnie travelling to the depths of Coruscant. He enters an elevator code and grabs its secret Beats earpiece to have a conversation with Luthen, which is filled with all sorts of subtexts of threats. Luthen's kept tabs on Lonnie from afar. Undeterred, Lonnie informs Luthen of an up-and-coming Imperial officer, everyone's favourite ISB agent, Dedra Miro, and how they've captured a pilot and are setting a trap for Krieger's men, the same people that Luthen was previously trying to enlist Saw Gerrera to help out. Luthen pretty much thanks Lonnie for the heads up, but is comfortable letting those 50 rebels die to keep Lonnie's cover intact. He doesn't hesitate in picking. A high-up ISB agent is more valuable than 50 men. Easier to find 50 rebels than to infiltrate the upper ranks of the ISB. Lonnie, however, doesn't want to be a spy for the rebellion anymore. It's been 6 years and he wants out. Becoming a father has changed him and he plans on finding a way out of the ISB. Luthen refuses, and this causes Lonnie to ask what exactly Luthen has been sacrificing. It leads to probably the most epic monologue we've seen thus far in the show.
What did I sacrifice? Everything!
Before Lonnie can respond, Luthen sends him back to work and shuts the elevator on him. He's not going to give Lonnie a choice. He doesn't have one, and Luthen will move the pieces as needed. He's not going to get personally attached to people. They are pieces that have a role but not a personality to him. What we learn is Luthen represents the dark side of the rebellion. Earlier on, we see Mothma dressed in lighter colours and brighter surroundings trying to conduct business to help the rebellion. Luthen though, he's dressed in dark garb, meeting in the darkest recesses of Coruscant, cloak and dagger style. When he's making deals, it's not about moving money and conducting marriage pacts. It's deciding whether 50 men are worth more than an ISB agent. Is his cover blown or is it still intact? Who is he sending to their deaths next? Who does he have to betray to ensure the survival of the rebellion? The rebellion wants to defeat the Empire, but he's the only one who knows they have to use Imperial methods to get the job done. You have to fight fire with fire. Imagine Jyn Erso giving Luthen the speech in Rogue One. He'd laugh her out the bloody room. Anyway, 2 episodes left, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the show closes out the season.